which meant that a ship's captain had the permission of a ruler, and later letter of marque, to engage in piracy. An English ship engaged in plundering English ships would be defined as a pirate ship, even if it shared the spoils with the English king. If an English ship took a French ship without the English king's permission, it was still a pirate ship. If, however, an English ship sailed with the permission of the English king, to plunder the ships of other nations, it was a privateer ship. The Templars answered to no one except the Pope, who did not, according to record, issue letters of marque. When the Templars captured enemy ships, they claimed they were acting on behalf of their nominal ruler, the Pope. But the ships of the Templar order did not stop there, and often the ships of other Christian kings were fair game. Most of the Templar fleet was originally the low-lying galleys, which were similar to those used by the Muslim pirates of the Barbary coast. They were ideally suited for the coastal trade and equally suited for piracy, as they could maneuver into shallow waters, and were not forced to depend on the winds. The Atlantic fleet of the Templars used the sail, which allowed it to navigate the oceans as well. Christian Europe and Muslim Africa and Asia were at war for hundreds of years, but on a cultural basis many connections were made. Simon Danske, a Flemish adventurer, showed the North African pirates the use of the long-range sailing ship in piracy. Danske started his career in the French port of Marseille, but soon changed sides and names. As Darley Race, which means Captain Devil, Danske switched to the side of the Barbary pirates and captured Christian ships. Under his tutelage the Muslim pirates extended their range into the Atlantic. A Muslim fleet even sailed to Iceland, where the pirates took slaves and plundered. But Danske changed sides one too many times, and was hanged in Tunis. The Templar fleet was made up of whatever ships could be built, or the New World Order 19 bought or captured from its enemies. The range of the Templar sailing ships extended from the North Atlantic to the Eastern Mediterranean. The ships carried goods and pilgrims from Italy to the Holy Lands. With no fear of reprisals, the Templars engaged in piracy, when profit could not be made in legitimate ways. For those who manned the Templar fleet, the career jump from privateer for the order, to pirate for one's own gain was small. One early Templar turned pirate was Roger de Flor.The, son of the falconer of Emperor Frederick II. The 8-year-old Roger was taken on as a cabin boy in the Templar port of Brindisi. Working his way up through the ranks of the Templar navy, he soon assumed command of a ship bought from the Genoese. He named his ship the Falcon. When the final stronghold of Acre was being besieged, de Flor learned a new skill: extortion. He used his ship to raise money for his future career as a pirate, by charging to rescue ladies and damsels, and great treasure. 7 De Flor eventually fell out of favor with the order, and his ship remained in Temple hands, but he had earned enough money to buy a new ship. Through piracy and later mercenary work, he built a fortune and an army. The renegade Templar even earned the hand of the niece of the Byzantine emperor. It was not only renegade knights who would resort to piracy. Both orders, the Templars and the Order of St. John, profited from their ability to loot Mediterranean ports and merchant ships, just as the Muslim fleets profited from their capture of Christian ships. For hundreds of years different ports around the world played host to pirates and resisted, or ignored the authority of any governments. Ports such as the pirate kingdom of St. Mary's in Madagascar, where the only government was that of pirates in exile or hiding, served the European pirates who preyed on the silver ships of the Mughals of India. In the Americas, Tortuga and the Bahamas would enjoy shorter periods as pirate refuges. Even where ports had an official government, they were often ruled by those who supported piracy, such as those in Port Royal, Jamaica. One of the greatest pirate ports of the medieval period was Madeira, 20 piracy. A merry and a short life on the North African coast. In the 300 years that the Knights Templar fought the Islamic conquerors of the Mediterranean Sea, there were numerous periods of truce during which Arabs and Christians exchanged ideas. The Europeans learned about history, religion, including their own, science, mathematics, and medicine from their enemies. The greatness of such interchange of culture cannot be measured, but the Crusades had an enormous effect on Europe. Academic knowledge was not all the Templars learned. They also picked up new military and naval skills, and a tolerance for their Islamic counterparts. The result was that many ex-Templars simply switched sides, and joined the Barbary pirates. Author John J. Robinson suspects the Scottish Mason's word Mahabon is a corruption of Mahdia the Good, just as the French Marie le Bonne, Marie the Good, survives in English as Malibon. A Templar sea power is often downplayed in comparison to their military land maneuvers. The Templar navy and merchant fleets were well acquainted with the Baltic Sea, the British Isles, large portions of the African coast, the Mediterranean Sea, and even the Black Sea. They sailed as far as their Norman predecessors, and their purpose was not only trade and plunder, supplying food and munitions, carrying troops and pilgrims, and playing host to kings, and their goods were important in the long conflict against the Islamic nations. When the war with these countries abated, the war between the Christians filled the gap. In 1256 two Christian factions formed over who should possess Acre. The Hospitallers came to the aid of the Genoese and Catalan merchants to fight the navy of Venice, which was joined by the Templar fleet. And despite the fact that one of the Templar rules forbade killing a Christian, tough wars existed, and the act of killing fellow Christians was absolved by the necessity of preserving the wealth and power. The Templar world turned upside down in 1291. Acre fell to the armies of Islam. The Templar order would have just 16 years before it too would fall. The Knights had already lost the New World Order 21 Jerusalem, and now their last fortress was captured by their rivals. Public opinion quickly turned against the order. In the eyes of the world, the Templars had lost their mission, and were now simply a fat organization of creditors, landlords, and competitors with an attitude to boot. Haughty as a Templar was a phrase coined by Sir Walter Scott. His novels describe an order that turned its back on its founders. Once dedicated to poverty and obedience, the Templars became guilty of pride, arrogance, and, by the beginning of the 14th century, possessing more wealth than European kings. Pope Nicholas IV, the theoretical commander-in-chief of the order, publicly directed his anger against the Templars, blaming their squabbling with the rival Hospitaller order as the reason that the last Christian bastion in the Holy Lands was now in Islamic hands.